Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for continuing to subscribe. In this video, I'd like to talk about the term SQEP, S-Q-E-P. And it's a term that's often used and widely understood to consider the suitability and appropriateness of a person or group of people to undertake a specific task. Are they SQEP? Is he SQEP? Is she SQEP? And SQEP is SQEP, suitably qualified and experienced personnel. I mean, there's a thought, maybe it's just mine, that says maybe it should be SQEP, and we should add an extra E that talks about empowered, so experienced and empowered to notify, to denote whether that person's actually appropriate and able to hold the responsibility for carrying out that task. But I digress. So the term itself stands for suitably qualified and experienced personnel. And if we look at all these individually, as personnel, self-explanatory, and the suitably leads on to the Q and the E, suitably qualified and experienced. And there's a risk here that if we're not careful, this could quite easily fall into a form of tokenism in the approach to assessing someone's SQEP credentials. And maybe you should ask yourself, and I'll ask myself as well, when was the last time you checked somebody's SQEP status, other than perhaps a self-declaration and maybe a self-signature on a form? But let's look at suitably qualified. So qualified in essence means that you've got tends to be at base level, some kind of certificate for a course you've done or a qualification that you've earned. And the E, the experience, means you've been practicing what your certificate says you're capable of doing. But should we instead be considering competence? Now, there's competence and there's competency. And there is a difference, and there's a really good joint paper from the Institution of Engineering and Technology and the Health and Safety Executive, which explains the difference between the two. Now, individuals hold competency or competencies, and each competency is a specific knowledge, understanding, skill, or personal quality that an individual possesses or doesn't possess. And the sum of all those individual competencies is what we consider whether and if they make up their competence to perform an overall task. If we're just looking at competency, we are looking at individual attributes and qualifications. What we need to be considering instead is their competence. And the competence is the ability to undertake responsibilities and perform activities to a recognised standard on a regular basis. SQEP may be good as a shorthand, but what I'm going to talk about in a future video, the difference between an output and an outcome, we should focus more on competence of an individual rather than just a often self-declared SQEP status. Hope that's been useful. Thank you very much for watching. You know why you're watching. All the cool kids want to be a safety scientist. Cheers, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.